All right, welcome back. Here we go. Week number 2. So glad you guys are tuned in live, listening, ready to go. Hit us up in the chat. Let us know that you're there. Let us know how we did last week, what you're looking forward to this week. Got a lot of stuff to hit off the show, so we're going to try to run, get done as fast as possible. But thank you so much for those who have commented, who have shared, who have liked our videos. Make sure if you're on Facebook, jump over to YouTube for us. Give us a subscribe there. We can gain an audience over there, get the news all over the place. So we are looking forward to week number 2. Week number 1 probably did not go to plan for a lot of people. We were kind of, like I said, we had the Carolina goggles on. We had high hopes for a big year. I think it's still there. I think we still have opportunity to turn things around. I'm hoping it's a 1-week thing for the Gamecocks. But we'll get to that later on in the show. Will is not here with us live, but we will go with him for the Carolina pick. And he'll give us some insight for the Gamecocks pick, and look forward to that in just a second in our show. Last week, we introduced the idea of our Final Four for college football. We'll do that at the very end today. But we're going to start going over our results from last week so you guys can keep score at home, see how we're doing all throughout the year. So let's see the graphic here, see who's the number 1, who's number 4. All right. There it is. So we got Will with a solid 2-3 after a crazy week 1. Logan, another 2-3. Preston, 1-4.
Yeah, the Florida Gators got me good. So
yeah,
they got me good.
They have a nickname for the Gators. I don't know if you've heard it. It kind of started trending after last week's show. But, we'll get to that. And I'm sitting there at 3-2. Not a strong leader there at 3-2, but that's where we're at so far in the year. Let us know how your picks went, and look forward to that. So we are wanting to see some chat. Hadn't had anybody in the chat here on Facebook or on YouTube yet. Hit us up, give us some comments, let us know you're there. Starting to get some live viewers going on here. So with that said, let's just go ahead and jump right into our picks. Let's go to week number 1. Pick number 1. Number 1, Georgia. A lot of ones there. Versus Ball State. Logan, what's good to eat at Ball State? What's the restaurant of the week?
Where is Ball State?
where in the world is Carmen San Diego? We got Georgia versus Ball State. Logan, go ahead and give us some insight and some hope for Ball State here.
I don't have any. My pick is similar to Georgia's week 1 pick or week 1 game. I mean, I don't see anything that Georgia's going to fumble with or have any issues with Ball State.
Yeah.
The only thing that they struggled with last week is getting their feet underneath them with different offense and looks like that. But I think they're going to roll right over the top of Ball State with no issue.
Should be a good warm up.
Yeah.
Preston, you got some additional?
Yeah, I mean, Georgia started off with UT Martin last week, and it was a very slow game to my surprise. I mean, I watched Georgia, and I think they just, had to work out the kinks. You got a whole new quarterback in there, first year starting. So they had to figure things out. And eventually they got rolling towards the end of the game, and they pulled away, obviously, pretty heavily at the end. But, I mean, Georgia, according to ESPN, has got a 98.7% to win this game. So I'll stick with the ESPN analytics and roll with that. But, I think Carson Beck comes out, plays probably a first half. I think Vandegrift and the other guy, I can't remember his name, Gunnar Stockton. Is that his name, Gunnar?
Sure.
Yeah. Backup?
Yeah.
Gunnar Stockton came in and played a couple reps. So Vandegrift actually looked pretty solid. So, I think that's probably what's going to happen. Beck first half, Stockton, and Vandegrift played the second half. So warm-up game for them. Again, 2 weeks in a row must be nice.
Yeah.
I'd love to start off
Good.
with warm-up. So
Without a doubt, there's 2 teams in the East that have drastically different schedules. Like Holly in the comments said here, what are these high school teams doing with Georgia? I wish we could get a hold of those because for some reason we like to have a tricky schedule. But, Georgia's going to win. There's really no drama to this game. There's no huge excitement. I think, Kurt, you're going to be a happy man come Saturday. Easy Georgia win, no sweat. Enjoy a solid Georgia win. And look forward to the next game. All right, let's go ahead and jump in to a closer game, one that might draw some drama, have some chances for excitement. We got number 20 Ole Miss taking on number 24 Tulane. Tulane is kind of the new up and comers, obviously ranked preseason here. We don't know a whole lot about them because they're outside the SEC. But we know Ole Miss, they want to fly high on offense, ride or die on offense. Do we think the drama from the blind side is going to add a factor to this game?
No.
Don't think so. No, I don't think that there should be any drama for that. But Preston, who you got in this ball game?
Man, this is a tough one, and obviously I need to improve my record. I had some terrible picks last week, but I kind of stuck with my heart, which was the SEC, and I'm kind of feeling that way this time. I mean, Tulane finished the year strong. They played a bowl game, I believe, against USC, and they ended up winning that game. Pretty good year for them last year. They got a really solid quarterback, guy named Pratt. He was there last year. He's a really good quarterback. I think he's a first or second round guy this year. So they got a really good quarterback. But I think the talent that Ole Miss has with Lane Kiffin's offense, he's a good coach. I mean, Jackson Dart threw 4 touchdowns last week for 334 yards. I mean, yeah, they didn't play anybody, but I mean, he seems pretty polished. He's been around the system for a while. I think they handle business pretty well. So I say Ole Miss. I think it's a close game. I think, 35-28, something in that range. I think Tulane puts up a fight, but I think in the end, SEC reigns. It didn't rain last week, but this week I think the true colors will come out. So
I got to ask, where is Tulane? Is it
New Orleans, right?
Yeah, it's in New Orleans.
Yeah. Okay, so it's in the South. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
That's nice. It gives a little bit of hope for all
I'm
of us.
pretty sure they play in a high school stadium.
Wow.
I'm pretty
Right.
sure. If
Wow.
I'm not mistaken. You can correct me, but I'm
Fact
pretty sure.
checkers, get out there on Google.
Yeah, get me. Go
Kirk,
ahead.
Kirk, you're already there. So go ahead. We know you're almost halfway there on Google, typing it in. See where Tulane plays at and see if they're playing on a high school field. Logan, insight here for Ole Miss.
I think that it's going to be a pretty good game as well. Tulane did come off a pretty good USC win in the last season, like Preston said. But I think Ole Miss's offense is just going to be too much for them.
Yeah.
I mean, they have Jackson Dart at quarterback, and they have Judkins at running back, who are both really big threats that can make a really big splash. Judkins didn't do a whole lot last week, but they played Mercer. I mean, he probably only played a little bit.
Sure.
I think Ole Miss is going to win pretty solidly, at least by 2 touchdowns, if not more.
Nice. And Tulane with 4 touchdowns for the quarterback. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But I think the Cinderella story stops in week 2. I think reality sets in for Tulane, and Ole Miss gets the job done. Hopefully we will continue to pick the favorites because it's kind of leaning that way this week. But now that game should be close. It should be interesting. But now we get to a really interesting game here in the South Carolina State. We got number 25 hanging on for hope, Clemson versus Charleston Southern. Clemson hanging on in the top 25 by somehow, some way. And, man, talking to a lot of Clemson fans this week, not a whole lot of hope. Seems like a lot of it was dashed by the Blue Devils. I think Clemson's still a good team. I think they still have the athletes. They just got to figure out how to run a pass-run option.
Yeah.
I think that's what killed them last week. I mean, they get to the goal line, fumble the ball, and handoff. So as long as they can hand the football off to the running back, I think Clemson will be okay for this game. I think somewhere in the game plan, at some point, you just got to keep it simple, right? The old expression, keep it simple, silly. At some point, you just got to be simple. Clemson, they have the players, they have the size, they have the speed. Hand the ball off and call it a day. Get through this game and carry on with the rest of your series. Logan, insight for this Clemson game?
First thing I'm going to say is I would not want to beat Charleston Southern this week. Coming off a really, game that you shouldn't have lost to Duke, and you have a bounce-back game against Charleston Southern, it's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
I just don't see any way that Charleston Southern is going to really do anything against Clemson. I mean, they still have the athletes. I mean, they played a good team last week still with Riley Leonard and Duke, but there's really not a whole lot from Charleston Southern. I think
And Zach Clemson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think they're going to win pretty big.
Yeah.
I'm up there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think Clemson still has playoff in mind, and I think this game is going to be one of those games where they know they got to make up some momentum. They know they got to get the playoff committee looking at this game, and Port Charleston Southern, I think it's going to be a ugly day for them. Kirk, bold prediction here: Charleston Southern by 3. That's a bold pick right there. Hey, any given Saturday. After this last weekend, I can't say anything about being
Let
confident.
me just say, I hope you're right.
it could be a possibility. I mean, I think the way you come out of week 1, I think Carolina and Clemson fans would agree. We're all looking at like a 5-win going into the Carolina Clemson game, hoping to get that bowl win. That's the way we're all feeling after week 1. But I think Clemson will clean up here, take care of business, and probably stomp the Bucks here. So, Preston?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're a formidable team. I think I was watching it today on ESPN, and I think the statistics with the amount of 4- and 5-star players that Clemson has is over 40.
Yeah.
Duke has 2.
Yeah.
2.
Ridiculous.
2 to 4 to 5-star players. And so I just think it was just one of those games, every now and then you just have a bad game. You look into history, and every now and then you just come out, you get that bad feeling. You overhype the game, you don't take it serious, and you just lose. And that's what happened last week. I think Clemson, obviously, is the better football team. Much respect to Dabo. I like Dabo. Shout out to Seth Hawley. I think he shared a post on Facebook about a podcast with David Pollock, and it's called Family Goals. Shout out to that podcast. You come on our show, David Pollock. I'd love to have you.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Game day didn't work out, so this is much better.
He just got let go from ESPN, and he's trying to find a purpose. And
we need some Georgia persuasion.
please come on. We'd love to have you. But he interviewed Dabo, and just the quality of a person he is, and how his faith is really the center of his program, and how he runs it. And so I have much respect for Dabo. Thank you for sharing that, Seth. That was a really good podcast to listen to. I encourage anybody and everybody to look into that and listen to it. It's a really good podcast, and how he runs his program and what he does with his players, and really his focus is it's not to win games. It's really to just be the best they can be at all times. And so, luckily for him, it's happened more often than none. But with Clemson, I think they're going to come out ready to play. I think Dabo gets them in shape. I think they're ready. I think they have plenty of talent. Klubnik is a great quarterback. I think he comes out. He's a little more polished this week. Probably a little bit generous last week, and they win. They win pretty big. I think it's a blowout, like by a lot. So
yeah, good pick. I agree. I mean, I don't think anything's gonna change. So all of us here got Clemson going on to win this game, bouncing back from a rough week 1. The quarterback reminds me of something I get at Sheila's, and if Sheila's is watching, we would love a sponsorship because we love going there. But a Klobosnik, I don't know if you've ever gotten a Klobosnik there. But
pastry with a summer sausage with some peppers on it.
You can't beat it.
Or
cheese and the sausage,
Ugh.
spicy
So
jalapeno
good.
on top. Just that, man, good stuff. But random shameless plug. If you would like to sponsor Saturday College Pick'em Show, we'd love to have you on as a sponsor. So,
Toss your logo right in the top
That's right.
left corner, and
I'll give you a whole commercial. I will wear a T-shirt. I'll do whatever we need to do. But man, thank you so much for watching, guys. Try to keep the show on here free for everybody to watch and entertain. All right, next pick. Not necessarily going to get much attention from College Game Day this week. We got our local team, Furman, taking on the Gamecocks. Man, hoping things will be all right. We're hoping the offensive line can show up this week. But this pick, we're actually going to outsource to our outman today, Will Bryant, out in the field, live, out in somebody else's guest bedroom. So we're going to bring Will in now to help us out with this Carolina pick here. Will Bryant, welcome to the show, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys. Looking forward to it. Rough week last week, but let's bounce back this week.
Yes, sir. Let's get back on the road. Let's start the trip to Atlanta now, right? Get warmed up for Georgia next week. No holding back anymore. So, Will, what you got? Well, give me some insight for this game for Carolina versus Furman.
Man, we got a lot of injuries. This week, a couple offensive linemen and Henry and Marquis Anderson are out. Couple defensive players out. Enamori, our top defensive DB. A couple guys on the defensive line. Juice, I think, is probably more than likely out. So it's going to be tough, but, it's lucky that we're playing a lesser team, I guess you could say, this week, kind of bounce back. I think that the offensive line will not be as bad this week. Like I said, Florida was a dumpster fire. I would go as far as to say South Carolina's offensive line is a dumpster fire. But I think, they can probably recover a little bit. They're not going to be great. They'll be good enough to beat Furman. Rattler looked great last week, even though he got sacked 9 times. Xavier Legette had 170-something receiving yards. A lot of positives to take, but got South Carolina. And I'd be remiss to not also say I'm not going to be on for the pick, but for my dad, Roll Tide. All right, so.
Okay, there you go. I'll take it. Now, Will, really is – the coaches have been talking all week that this should be a close matchup, that Furman should get some respect. They showed out last year, get Clemson did really well, outgained Clemson on offense. They talked so much about how Furman led the FCS in turnovers. So who's going to win the turnover battle? Because I think that's what Beamer hyped on so much in the offseason was the turnover battle. So where do you see Furman's defense lining up against our offense?
Furman's defense is good. I really do think the strong point of their team is quarterback. I think that's where they get a lot of their strength. But their defense is the one thing that South Carolina did really well last week was not turn the ball over, which is surprising because that's usually something we struggle with. So, even with 9 sacks, we didn't turn the ball over. So I don't think that's really going to be an issue for us this year. Rattler seems a little bit more poised in the pocket, knows where he's going. The running backs are getting hit before they even get the ball, so I don't think that's a problem with them fumbling. I think our defense will get 1 fumble, an interception or 2, and South Carolina might have a fumble, but I think South Carolina will win the turnover battle.
Okay, yeah. I hope. I think the greatest win that we had last week was Spencer Rattler was able to walk off the field. Because that was an ugly game. You don't want to see your quarterback getting hit that many times. No excuse for that. So we got to make sure we sharpen that up. Preston, give me some thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I think we all had high hopes last week going to the North Carolina game. Credit to North Carolina. Maybe they're just that good. I hope so. That's really what we're kind of all pulling for is maybe they're just that good. Rattler was running for his life the whole time. He had 19 hits by the line of scrimmage. He had 9 sacks on him. He really did anything and everything he could just to pass the ball. He was 30 for 39 with 353 yards. I think that the story changes a little bit this week. I think the offensive line buys him some more time. I think they established the run game a little bit more. They got to because that relieves Rattler a little bit with the pressure. So I think it's a little bit different ball game this week. I think they're really going to be diving in hard to the offensive line, defensive line. The defensive line has got to create some pressure.
Yeah.
Last week Drake May had all the time in the world to throw, these 40-yard passes, these wide open wide receivers. It was just ridiculous. And we had every opportunity to win. We had that onside kick that was the best onside kick I've ever seen. Our special teams is phenomenal. And then we had 2 interceptions, and then we just couldn't capitalize. He was running for his life. He couldn't get a pass off. We had our best wide receivers out with Juice Wells. Our corner went out. Iman Wari, he was hurt. So this week is a different story. I think Furman is a solid team. They're top 10 in FCS. I looked it up this morning. So they're a good football team, but FCS is a little bit different than FBS. So I think we come out, we handle business. I think Beamer has to. There's a lot on the line with this game, honestly. I think a lot of pressure, sadly. And so I know, which is crazy, but I think he has to produce. This is out of all the games we play this year, this is a gimme. We don't get very many gimmies, so he's got to have a gimme. So we win, but I couldn't tell you. I don't know if it's going to be a close one or a blowout. You don't know. It's like last week we thought it was going to be closer, and it wasn't. So we don't know what to expect. We hope for the best. So
2 things. Rattler 30 for 39, even with crazy pressure.
Right.
But I would have to say this is our comment of the night. Zach Hawley, he's got some background information. Rumor has it Beamer is refusing to hand the chain crew hot dogs during halftime. So I thought that was a great comment there.
Beamer was really upset. Like,
Oh yeah, bro.
he's about to come out with that onside kick, and it like messed it up. He talked about it. He's like, I was about to run onside kick, and the chain crew messed me up. So
I'm telling you, I was having this random like daydream last night. I was like, if the greatest gimmick that would ever get Carolina's like so much attention, if Cocky came out after halftime with a hot dog stroller, like just coming out with a buggy, handing out hot dogs to the field crew, that would be tremendous. That would get so much attention. So, all right. Man, dumpster fire was the word of the week last week. We got another dumpster fire throw out to our offensive line. Maybe we'll have to do a Will Bryant special and just have a dumpster fire of the
we
week.
should get a logo with a dumpster
Right.
fire.
And we got our dumpster fire lover right here, Zach Shank, with a comment, 500 club, here we go. So we'll see what happens.
True
Hopefully.
statement.
It's true. That's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. So
Florida and Carolina in a bowl game.
500 entering.
6-6.
It's going to be great. So fighting for 5th place in the SEC is going to be great.
Jeez.
So, all right, Logan, give us your thoughts, your pick for this game.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as everybody else is. I mean, Spencer looked pretty good last week. I mean, you only throw 9 completions with 2, maybe 3 seconds to throw it every time. Another good plus is that even though he was having to run away from pressure all the time, he actually got to run the ball, which we didn't see a whole lot of last year. So that is a good look for us. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of like our entire packages this weekend because we do have Georgia going up. And that's a really big negative, I think, is I think we might potentially overlook Furman coming off a game that we could have won that should have been closer.
Yeah.
I think we have there's a dangerous game to look over Furman to try and look forward to Georgia.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting weekend. It is the home opener. I think that plays a really big part.
Oh, yeah.
Hype, man. Hype.
It's sold out.
Yeah.
And it's a night game.
It is sold out. It is a 7:30 game.
Lasers.
That's 14 points right there.
Right there.
So,
right
It
there.
really is.
But yeah, I'll take Carolina.
Special teams right there. 14
Right. I don't think we're going to see any like special onside kicks or go for it on 4th down with a fake punt.
No.
But I think Carolina still takes it.
Here's what I would say. This is what I would say. I think we could easily come out and let Spencer Rattler throw for 700 yards and win 63-7. And we'd probably all love that. Here's what we need to do this week. Run the ball. Run the ball. Just
You got to establish that run game.
see if we can do
Yeah,
it, period. Because if we can't do it this week, then just let Spencer Rattler have the ball and just play 7 on 7.
He's going to throw it 50
Call
times a game.
Right.
He's going to have to.
You're going to have to. 'Cause,
Which is good for him. I mean, it makes him look good in the long run as long as you make completions.
I'm here to tell you, the offensive line, we had a young group, got injuries on offensive line as well. This week, go ahead and get them reps in against a team you don't normally line up against. I know coaches thought this week that, we got a good defensive line to line up with. Well, you didn't show it in week 1. So we got to make sure we can run the ball this week. Carolina should win this game. We're paying this team to come in and play us. So goodness gracious, we better beat this team. Not a good look if we lose 2 weeks in a row again, back to back, and have to dig ourselves out after Georgia. So
Here's what I'll say.
I'm ready.
I love DeCarrion Joyner. He's a really good player.
Love
I think
him.
he can make a big impact for the game.
Yeah.
But we got to run running back.
Yeah.
Like, he's really good. He can hurt you at the running back position,
Yeah.
but he can't be the sole guy to run the ball. We have to have a
Yeah.
running back.
And don't run the Wildcat.
Right.
And expect
No.
him to run.
No.
I mean, if he's going to run the Wildcat, you better throw it because they know he's going to run the
Yeah,
ball.
you're
Like,
not
they're
surprising
looking for
anyone
it.
but
Yeah.
doing that. So.
2 things, too. I would say we don't need 3 quarterbacks on the field. Don't need to see Luke Doty,
no.
DeCarrion Joyner, Spencer Rattler. We don't need to see 3 quarterbacks on the field. And
Yeah.
DeCarrion Joyner, move him around. Like we talked about week 1,
Yeah.
make him kind of that Dava or Debo. Make him run around, make him line up in the slot. We kind of saw him move around, but they never utilized him
Right.
other than running back. So,
Put Nicholas Harper.
Yeah, we got a 5-star wide receiver that didn't catch a
Right.
ball last week. So
that's it. All right, final thoughts there, Will, and we'll let you go.
I think it's going to be a fun matchup. Sad as
Yeah.
it is, I think it will probably be close. I don't foresee a big offensive showing. They're not going to show a lot. They're going to try to run the ball, which I don't think we're going to be very good at this year, period.
Yeah.
But I think Spencer Rattler, he'll do his thing. He'll spin it like he did last week. He'll win us a game. I do think you might get to see Lenora Sellers this week. on some
Yeah.
package, maybe
That'd be
around
nice.
the goal line. He's a good 5-yard and in quarterback. Take the ball, run it. He's big, he's strong. So look for
Yeah,
that.
just tuck it in your belly and go.
Absolutely. Xavier Legette, I think, will have another big game though. So
Oh yeah.
You have to.
And he's got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Goodness. What's the weather like Saturday? It's gonna be like 90 degrees again.
It's a 6% chance of rain.
Oh, good. So good sloppy offensive game. It'll be solid. Solid. All right, Will. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your dumpster fire pick of the week. And I look forward to getting you back here live with us next week. Have a good night, Will.
You're welcome.
absolutely. Take care.
Hey, who's winning tonight? You're watching NFL.
They got it in there. I haven't watched
Chiefs
it.
Lions.
Chiefs
think-
Lions, who you got?
I gotta go Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No brainer.
Give me the Lions. Give me the Lions. Kelsey's out.
Whoa,
Whoa.
Hey,
We'll switch it up.
Travis Kelce is hurt. He is not playing.
Oh,
So.
wow.
Yeah, they have this guy named Patrick Mahomes that's still
Yeah.
playing.
That's my homies. That's right. That's good.
Might
All
as well take
right,
a
well,
game.
Bryant, see you, buddy.
See ya.
And we're back for the final pick of the week. This is our Maze Landscaping pick of the week. I'm just going to keep plugging people until they start paying us. So looking forward to this pick. Big game here. This is kind of Texas's warm up for being in the SEC officially. We got number 11 Texas taking on Alabama. Oh boy, this could get interesting. This could set the tone going into the next few years of the SEC. Love to see Texas stepping up and joining the big boys. So they got the money. They got the money. I think going forward, Texas is going to get stronger and stronger. They like I said, it's hard to compete with that old money. A&M brought it in the SEC. Now we got
NIL
Texas.
money is hard to turn down in Texas.
Yeah. So I think
all over.
if the scheme of college football doesn't change, I do foresee Texas and A&M both just dominating college football going forward. So, but on a different note, we got this week. We're not talking about 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. This is today. Alabama still has the same coach, Nick Saban. Still has that same aura of being Roll Tide.
Right.
They still have all the things that makes them great. So with this game, this is our game of the week. Press, I'm gonna let you lead us off. Give us some insight and who's your pick for this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good game. It's a quality game. I think both these teams had high hopes for this year. I think this game will kind of decide who's going to make that playoff picture. You really can't lose more than one game and make the playoff. You really can't lose a game, honestly. I mean, it's tough. And so I think Alabama is still a stronger team. According to ESPN, they got 80% chance of winning to Alabama. I think they're just more polished. They have a lot more talent on defense. I think Jalen Milroe had a solid week last week. He's a runner and he's a passer. He can do both. I haven't really seen that much at Alabama.
Is he a track star?
I don't know.
He's a runner.
Yeah, maybe.
He's a track star.
My bad. But yeah, I mean, I think Alabama handles business. I think it's a good game. I think Quinn Ewers, with Texas, is a solid quarterback. He really is, and I think, I don't know. It's in Alabama, so that's really my sway factor. Is it's going to Alabama, just because of the atmosphere. And Saban's just a good coach. He knows how to plan and knows how to prepare. And usually his teams don't come out and make mistakes, so they're very polished.
Yeah.
I go Alabama. Close game, but Alabama.
There you go. Logan?
Yeah, I agree. One big thing that I have circled this week is the big quarterback battle.
Ooh.
Quinn Ewers is a really good quarterback. Jalen Milroe, this is his chance to get his feet underneath him, be an established quarterback going forward and hopefully get to the college football playoff. He's a dual threat quarterback. He had 5 touchdowns, 3 passing, 2 rushing.
Yep.
And just like Preston said, Alabama is favored by 7 points, and I think all 7 of those points are because they're playing in Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, I think Alabama's still going to take it. I was really up in the air all day thinking about this, but I think Alabama takes it.
Oh man, it's tough because I think both these teams are built similarly. I think they're both solid physically, but I'm going to give the edge to Alabama. That's my pick this week. I think Alabama will win by 10. Kirk's got Texas by 10. I got Bama by 10.
Yeah, a lot has to come from coaching.
Yeah.
Sarkisian versus Saban. So it's like, to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, Saban knows what he's doing. Sarkisian, I mean, he's a good coach, but he's had his hiccups throughout history. So
Right. And it's a gut pick. That's the thing. And more than anything, Saban
it's
makes
an SEC pick.
Yeah, it's an SEC. Yeah. Like you said, we have the Gamecock goggles, we got the SEC goggles. Not ashamed, but I really do believe Alabama's going to take this one. Two teams that are hopeful for the playoffs, but we'll see. So that's our picks this week. I think Will give us a roll tide on that one too for his dad. So that's our big game of the week. But to conclude our show, to finish things off, we're going to give you guys our final four and let you guys know what we're thinking so far in our early football predictions. Trying to get an update here to see where everybody's at after week one. Logan, you got a game plan for your top four so far?
Yep. So I think with this weekend in mind, I think Georgia still goes undefeated. Still a really good team. They'll get the offense sorted out probably by next week, of course. But I think Georgia's still going to make it. They're still one of the top teams. We also had them picked in the SEC championship. Whether Alabama wins or loses this weekend,
Okay.
I still think they're going to make it. They'll win an SEC championship against Georgia to go to the college football playoff and have two one-loss teams in the playoffs. And I have Michigan going. I think that can be interchanged with Michigan or Ohio State. You never really know. It's more of a toss-up between the two of them every single year. And then lastly, I have Florida State. I think they showed a lot last weekend. Really big win. I don't think a lot of people saw it coming. We definitely didn't see it coming.
No.
But I think Florida State definitely comes in with the fort. Here is my wild pick, though. Okay. Not top four. I think that USC won't be top 10 by the end of the year.
Wow.
I know a lot of people have USC like big year, but I was talking to Preston before the show. I mean, they have 4 or 5 ranked games coming up that are all top 25.
Yeah, what
You
would I roll?
got Utah, Oregon, Colorado.
Oregon State,
Yep. You got too many good teams that they have to play. before
Washington,
Yeah, exactly.
Michael Penix. I mean, that's a solid team of
Yeah.
Washington.
Ollie, what are you doing?
If Colorado has a really good year and beats USC and beats Oregon and Utah, I think they could definitely make it.
What's this Holly comment? What's up with this? Ohio. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
You're going to get a talking to later. Before we get to Preston's pick, let me just make a side commercial. I'm gonna air out some thoughts here. Okay,
All right.
Just give me like 2 seconds. This is kind of my breakout. Colorado, real or overhyped?
I'll take Deion in Carolina.
Yeah.
Mark my words.
Yeah,
His son played for us.
I'll say-
Shiloh.
yeah.
Yeah, Shiloh Sanders was one of our DBs.
Leading tackler.
Yeah, he was leading tackler last week for Colorado. So
I think Colorado's a real deal.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't.
I think his son's the real deal. Shadir and Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
And I think he's a good quarterback. I mean,
Obviously, they can't do that every week. But
Yeah.
I think they play a lot of ranked teams, and I think they're going to take some of those games.
TCU was in the national championship last year.
Exactly.
I mean,
And they beat
well,
them.
well.
I mean, they did lose their star quarterback, but I mean, still, I
Yeah,
think Colorado's a real deal. I think they're going to wind up like towards the top of the top 25, but we shall see.
Man,
yeah, I mean, I like Deion. I like his philosophy.
Yeah.
It's different. That's what a lot of people have really talked about the past week is his philosophy and how he approaches the game and really just involves his players. And he doesn't put up with a whole lot. You think
Yeah.
he'd be a pushover, but he's not. I mean, you watch his documentaries and stuff that are out there. That dude's hardcore, and he don't play games. And
yeah.
I
He's
think-
old school too.
Yeah, he's very old school. He's got that mentality. I mean, Travis Hunter, the two-way player, plays wide receiver and quarterback. Dude's a phenom.
Yeah.
Followed him to Jackson State, or what was that college? And it was
Yeah.
Jackson State to Colorado. I mean, he's got a good thing going in Colorado, and he's in a bracket that's pretty wide open. I mean, you know, with Nebraska and you know, there's other teams that haven't really have a solid team the past couple of years. So he could definitely blow the thing wide open. They won one game last year. One game.
That's
So
the same.
I like Colorado. I like Man, I like Dion. I mean, I'd love to have him in the SEC, and I think eventually he'll get scooped up. Somebody will pay him the big bucks.
Man, I've always said this. Florida State's going to grab them eventually. I know they got a good thing going. I know they
Yeah,
got
I
a
like
good
Florida
coach right
State's
now.
coach. I really do.
Did you see the interview though?
Hmm.
He doesn't claim Florida State at all.
Really?
Yeah, he said that he didn't graduate from Florida State. He does not associate with Florida State like that.
Wow.
Dumpster fire.
So there's a little hope. A little hope. I don't know. I love Beamer, but man, when you talk about a winner, I think
Talk about
Dion.
culture.
I think he's the man. It's amazing. I think this is pretty cool. Jackson State, where Dion left, they got our old quarterback, one of our old quarterbacks,
Yeah,
Jason Brown.
Jason Brown.
And he was the MVP last week.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool to see.
Good for him.
That's awesome. Love to see Gamecocks succeed wherever they end up.
Except for
the best for him.
Jambo.
Yeah, we won't say what we think on that one. And I'm really, but we can get a really deep, dark cave into that conversation. But man, thankful for what Jason Brown did for our program. Good guy. So, but yeah, Colorado, I think they're real. I think they're the threat. I think, like even Kirk said right here, clean some things up on defense, and they could be a playoff contender as well. Just kind of that surprise. Climb the whole thing up and get in there.
Yeah,
somehow.
defense will get them in trouble. I think at some point this season they'll get them in trouble, but I think they're good enough to put up some numbers on offense. So
Yeah.
that West Coast attack, that's that style play. USC's the same way. They never have a good defense. So
Yeah.
in California, USC, University of Southern Cal. So we'll see. It's gonna be a lot of high scoring games this year for them. And hey. Next week we should have a Heisman plug. We'll see
good.
a top
Hey.
4 Heisman candidates.
I'll take it.
And I think Shadir is going to be one of them, and
Yeah.
Travis Hunter. I think you see both of them in the Heisman pool.
You say Spencer Rattler?
Hey, Spencer's. I said from the
Also-
get go, I knew we didn't have a run game.
Sorry.
I knew we didn't have a run game, so I knew Spencer was going to throw 30 or 40 times a game.
Sure.
He's going to have to,
Yeah.
and that's going to help his numbers out. So as long as he don't throw picks and he needs a couple more touchdowns. But
And he's got to get that win. He's got to get whatever
Yeah.
that win
True.
is. So.
true,
All right, no more delay.
yeah.
Who's your top 4?
For me, I'm looking at the odds right here now, and it's really wide open. Clemson obviously lost, so they're out. If Texas loses this week, they're out. I really was feeling Notre Dame because I really like Sam Hartman. The dude's from he's from South Carolina. I think he's from Myrtle Beach,
I get it.
and it's such a good quarterback. And he went up to Notre Dame, and he's having a phenomenal year. But Notre Dame plays a lot of tough teams this year. I see them playing. They play USC. They play Ohio State. They play Clemson. So it's a really weird year for Notre Dame. Usually they have that cake schedule that everybody talks about.
Yeah.
So I don't have a good feeling about that. I feel like they slip up somewhere. I'm really gonna stick with Georgia just because of the schedule. I think the East is pretty wide open for them to win, except for Tennessee. Tennessee's a pretty good team. I think they'll put up a battle. But I think Georgia's the best team, hands down.
Sure.
Alabama, I think they take the West. I think they pretty much sweep through it. And they'll probably face it's going to be Georgia, Alabama in the championship. We can already see it now. And then one of them's going to lose, and they'll probably still squeak in. So my other two, it's in the air. I like Florida State. I really do. I called it last week. John, I got you. I called it last week. I said they lose LSU, which I was wrong, but I think they make the playoff, and they win the ACC.
John, new best friend.
That's right,
here.
that's right.
It's
That's
over.
right.
Like, no one would have picked them.
That's right. And I think they're a good team. I think they're solid. They're well coached. I really like that coach. I can't think of his name, but I know he's from Memphis, and he was successful in Memphis. So,
Elvis Presley.
No, it's not Elvis.
Oh, man.
I can't think of his name right now, but he's a really good coach. And he had a rough first year, but, he had to get all those Jimbo players out of there and build his own program. So he's doing well now. My fourth, I would say I'm going to give it to Michigan. I think this is their year. I think they squeak in there. I don't know if they win it all, but I think they're a solid team. They have a returning quarterback and 2 running backs that are, top 5 running backs. They're a really highly offensive team. I think they play well. Harbaugh's a great coach. It just depends if he stays out of trouble or not. I think it's going to be those 4. That's my 4.
Good. I can't disagree with any of that. I think still there's so many unknowns right now.
Right.
Georgia's a lock. I think they're a lock for top 4, wherever they're going to end up. I think, like you said, Alabama, Georgia. I do think there's room for Georgia and Alabama both to be top 4 again. I think I can see Alabama losing the Iron Bowl for some random reason, just because that's the reality of the SEC. I can also see Alabama losing the SEC championship, still getting in and being fine. But I would say my top four: Georgia, Florida State. I'm on the hype train.
Yeah.
Right. Alabama, and I'm gonna go Michigan. I can't stand the pick. I can't stand Michigan. But with the schedule they have, I think Ohio State's down. But obviously we're going off week one. It's a whole lot we can all chew on week one and have a different perspective. But I think Michigan's the real deal again. Even without Harbaugh on the sideline, I think they did just fine. So that's my top four right now going into week number 2. Let us know how we did. Leave your top 4 in the comments. Make sure you share this on Facebook. Let your friends know about the show. Comment things that you liked about the show, things you'd like to see on the show. Hey, if you want to be a guest picker, we'd love to have you on here. Leave a comment and we can pick you up. Don't forget, go on YouTube. Make sure you go and subscribe on YouTube. Like this. Share this on all your socials. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Look forward to next week. Hey, if there's a game you want us to pick, leave it in the comment. We want this to be a fan-filled show, so we want to make sure you guys are represented here. It's not all about our opinions, not all about our picks. It's about you guys. We want to make sure you guys are getting your input in. We want to feed your wants, your needs. We want to make sure this show is for our entire community. So appreciate you guys. We have a core that has held on for us for years and years. Thank you so much for staying with us. And also, shameless plug, we need sponsors. We want to make this show better and better and better. We can't do that without our sponsors. So thank you so much for considering. Let us know. Leave us a comment. Send us a text. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have an awesome week of college football. See you guys later.
Thanks, guys.
Go Cox.